Good morning. Before we get started today, as always, please like and subscribe. Please share my channel. Please comment whether you agree with me or not. And thank you so very much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. I love reading your comments. I love interacting. Thank you. So today I have a lot on my mind, more than usual actually. And I'm going to try not to make this video go all over the place. I'm going to try to keep it focused as far as, I don't want to be scattered and just kind of talk about 17 different things in one video. But it's kind of hard not to this morning just because I am a little scattered. I woke up this morning with some anxiety, and that doesn't normally happen. And I believe that the anxiety came from some of the things I've been feeding into my mind. Today is October 8th, 2024, and there is a huge hurricane, Hurricane Milton, in the Gulf of Mexico heading toward Florida. I'm going to really try hard not to cry because it's heading toward the area where I lived for 10 years. It's heading toward a place that healed me. My very first videos, if you go all the way back to the very beginning when I was doing my videos, I was in Clearwater, Florida. I lived about, 4 miles from the beach at that time. The towns, the friends, the people, so many memories. I left Florida after DV, and Florida healed me. Just being in Florida in the sunshine with the breezes and the beauty of the place, of the state and the people, it was healing for me. And so I have very strong ties to Florida. I love, love, love Florida. I left 2 years ago because it was getting unaffordable. There were too many major hurricanes, the Gulf is warming, and we're not going to debate over global warming and climate change and all that stuff because everybody has their own opinions on that. But the fact of the matter is, the scientific fact of the matter is that the water is warmer now than it used to be, and things were happening like algae, flesh-eating bacteria in the water. There was red tide. All kinds of things were happening in the Gulf waters that were just creating an environment that was not what it was when I first moved there. So we left. My son graduated and he left last year, and we're all up here, up in the north. But watching the news is just, it's hurting my heart. It really is. I'm really hoping and praying that, excuse me a moment, there's a motorcycle that I need to watch out for. I'm really hoping and praying that the front that's coming down will shear this storm. They're saying that that's possible. There's a front of, I think it's dry air that's coming down from the north that could possibly interact with this storm and shear it, and I'm hoping that happens to just eliminate it. I hope it just knocks it completely to oblivion. But either way, there's going to be storm surge, I believe. I think so. I'm not exactly sure. It's 500 something miles out last time I checked. If it gets within 100 miles or so and it's a strong storm, there's going to be surge. So yeah, I'm a little bit in my feelings today and thinking about that. But just watching the news, just watching the bad news and all the panic and the people stuck on the highway, and looking at that, absorbing that, I believe, had an effect And I watched it before I slept, and they say that whatever you watch in the morning or whatever you do, you're looking at or thinking about in the morning or at night before you go to bed, especially at night before you go to bed, that's going to, seep in while you're sleeping. It kind of sinks in. And having that, be the last thing that I looked at before I fell asleep, lo and behold, I woke up with anxiety that I haven't had in a very long time. So I wanted to talk today about fear. I wanted to talk about where fear comes from. Sometimes we have a healthy fear of things. It's a healthy fear. I don't like to refer to it as fear. I call it a respect. If we have a healthy fear of something, I have a healthy fear of edges, like a cliff. If I walk up to a cliff, like the Grand Canyon, and there's no railing to hold on to, I'm going to have a healthy fear of that. And my way of putting that is that I have a healthy respect for the fact that gravity exists, and that, if I get too close to the edge, it could crumble. And I have a healthy respect for the laws of nature, the law of gravity, and the fact that, I could fall to my demise if I get too close. That is different from the kind of fears that we have when, there's everything from that to knowing that something could pose a danger, to an irrational fear that just, there are people that fear just about everything. They're just, the sky is falling and the world's falling apart and everything is going wrong. And then there's everything in between. We have fears. If we have children, we sometimes, if they're in school, we have an inner fear that something could happen while they're in school, or we have an inner fear of, our kids, being safe when they're out in traffic, or when our teen is learning how to drive. That's a good example of a fear that we might have. They take off on their own for the first time in a car, especially in city traffic. My son's first jaunt was from Tampa to Orlando to take a bunch of friends to Disney, and yeah, that was a fun time for Mom. But we can let fear get the best of us, or we can hold fear in a place where it belongs. So I think that for me, and again, this is for me, this is what I'm learning, and I'm always open for suggestions. I'm always open for constructive criticism, for input, feedback, anything you have that about these subjects. I am really, really eager to learn. But for me, what I'm learning about fear is to not take this experience, the world and the experience that we're in, and this might sound really bad, but bear with me, to not take it too seriously. And by that, I don't mean laugh at it. I don't mean laugh in the face of danger. I don't mean laugh at tragedy. That's not what I mean. So I want to make sure I clear that up right away. But what I mean by not taking this experience too seriously is not taking it to mean that this experience is the end all, change all, is all there ever is going to be, and that this experience is what molds us and shapes us and and makes us us, because the experience that we're living in does not make us us. When we know that what makes us us is just the I am, we just are. This experience doesn't create us. It doesn't make us or break us. It moves us and bends us and shapes us and grows us and teaches us. This experience is here as a teacher. It's here as a lesson for us to learn how to be loving and kind, compassionate. This experience is here to help us learn and grow as human souls, as the all, the I am, the collective, the one. This experience is here to be our obstacle course. It can be a playground. It can be an obstacle course. Sometimes the obstacles get really, really tough and they push us. Sometimes they push us to the brink. But as I said in previous videos, the name of the game, and I call it a game, but it's like a game board, but the name of the game here in this experience that we're in is to love one another. So when we see tragedy, you know, homes being torn apart, storm surge flooding things out, mayhem. Look at what happened in North Carolina just recently with the last storm, Helene. People's houses just being knocked down by mudslides and flowing rivers just sweeping away entire towns, and just chaos and mayhem here on the game board. And as we watch this chaos and mayhem, we know that it's hurting people. We know that it's causing hardship. We know that people are suffering, and this is where our decision comes in. What choice are we going to make? What decision are we going to make when we see human suffering? Are we going to ignore it? Are we going to pretend it doesn't exist? Are we going to not do anything? Are we going to be mean to people and say, well, you should have done this and you should have done that? Are we going to be high and mighty and try to rise above other people and be better than everyone else? Or are we going to be compassionate, loving, caring, giving, and join together in love with people? What does tragedy and hardship bring our hearts to do? When you're on the receiving end of someone who's giving you food when you don't have any, or giving you some clothes or something for your household when you've lost everything, when you're on the receiving end of that, you feel so much love toward the people who are giving. When you're on the giving end of that, you feel so much love toward the people who you're giving to. And this is the reciprocal cycle of the I am. This is what we're called to do. This is our purpose. And as horrible as hardship and tragedy are, they are here in this experience to bring us to that decision. Do we love or do we not love? And our goal is to choose love every time, to choose love. In these catastrophes, these natural disasters, you see people ranting and raging and criticizing. And then you also see people giving and loving and helping. And in this particular case, with this hurricane coming in, I've seen more people offering things like places to put your horses. We have, like, they'll post on social media, we have 40 acres and we'll house you and your horses and your children. Bring your dogs, bring your animals, bring your livestock. We have room. Okay, see, this is going to make me tear up, because these are the people that are getting it. These are the people that understand the game. If you have, you give. You open up your heart. And if you don't have like acreage and you don't have lots of money and you don't have something to give, I said this in another video, you're still enough. Even just wishing these people well, even posting, I'm praying for you, or I hope everything goes well for you, or even just in your heart, in your own private space, wanting these people to be okay in your heart. You're enough. And I'm not going to say if that's all you can do, if that's what you can do, because there's no contest. It's not like, can you give a lot or can you give a little? Every little bit that somebody gives, even if it's just well wishes in your own heart, that's giving. That's loving with your heart, and that's changing. Your love in your heart changes the entire atmosphere of the all. Your love in your heart creates more light. So this is a choice we have, when we face tragedy, when we face hardship, this is the choice we have. To be loving in our hearts and to grow the light, or to refrain from that and stay back in the darkness. And so that's what was on my mind today. I kept it to one subject. There are other things, but I'm going to get into the office. I'm running a little bit late this morning. My son sent me a really, really sweet gift first thing in the morning. Today's my birthday, by the way. So I woke up this morning to happy birthday from my son and a really sweet gift, and I had to just hang out a little bit. So I'm not late for work, but I like to clock in at least a half an hour early, and I'm like maybe 10 or 15 minutes early today, but I'm going to get in there. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you next time.